Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Saka here with another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season. We are at the Super Speedway Talladega, and I am a fan of plate racing. I like the tight lines that form, and it should be a really good race for us, and it needs to be because we were 1 point out of it after Charlotte. So we need a good showing here for sure. One thing that is going to help is Brandon and I are nose to tail right there. He's in the Texaco Haviland Ford, and I am in the Pennzoil Chevy for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. And it is going to be tight on fuel. We have 9 laps in the tank on an 18-lap race. Tires are not going to be an issue. We don't see a lot of tire wear at Talladega, but we need to conserve every drop of fuel we can and ride the clutch as much as we can here. Unfortunately, NASCAR Racing 2003 season doesn't let you flip the ignition switch and actually turn off the engine. So this is what we can do to preserve fuel. It's going to be kind of easy to conserve fuel if we're in the draft, but if these guys are going fast and we need full throttle to keep up, then fuel conservation is really not up to us, but the race pace. Green flag is out. Up to third gear, we're going to short shift just a little bit. I like the fact that we're at 9 laps still in the tank coming around the start-finish line, and short shifting here in the fourth. We're right on the bottom, and we're going to start to see these cars form distinct lines. We'll try to hold the bottom as best we can, but the high line is a perfectly fine place to go if need be. Brandon will push up 3 wide under the 10 of Johnny Benson and the 02 of Ryan Newman. I'll follow him through. Essentially, the pack is going to stay together. It's going to be very difficult to break away from anyone, so we have to really take these moves as they come to us. Looks like Johnny Benson will slide down there into the bottom. We'll stay with him, and we're now up to full speed coming around Bill Elliott, pressuring us in the back window. Looks like that high line is kind of slow here. We've got the great run down at the bottom. We'll take it. The yellow line isn't out of bounds as far as the gain coding is concerned, but definitely we're sort of playing by the rules here. In real NASCAR, if you go below that yellow line to advance your position, then you have to give the spot back or be penalized, and we'll try to keep this as legit as possible. We see Mike Skinner there pushing up. He was eliminated from this round. He is no longer in the chase, but we are pushing this engine. We've got max RPMs going down into turn 3. Looks like Brandon's trying to run a half lane up, maybe trying to arc down to the bottom. We've got a good run under the 31 here. We'll take a look to the inside, and the yellow line actually is a lane below us in turn in the apron rather than turn 4, so we can drop down here to the bottom. Brandon in the middle 3 wide, in between Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton. Rusty Wallace there. We'll leave a hole for Brandon to slide down into if need be. Looks like he's going to try to keep the middle line rolling though. Side by side here, and the entire pack is still together. Jeff Burton with a force. Looks like they're trying to move up. The bottom line is not where they're running down the backstretch, so he was getting a lot of drafting help from Bobby Labonte, and we will continue that pull around. Looks like Brandon is right there on our door. I don't know if he's got a gap or not. He's holding his line up there. Bobby looking to the inside of Jeff Gordon. Ooh, Brandon with the slice. He was cleared. I don't know if his spotter told him he was clear or not, but I certainly didn't lift, and around he goes. And we will put Bobby and Jeff up 3 wide. And making our way to the front, I've got a good feeling about this. We are competitive enough to stay in this lead pack. If we were starting to fall behind, I would really start to question maybe putting some more grill tape on this thing to improve our straight line speed. We're not overheating, so we could do that if worse comes to worse, but it looks like we're pushing our engine as high as it can go. We're not on the chip, but very close to it. Looks like Brandon will get under the 3 of Dale Earnhardt, the plate master. We expect a good run out of Earnhardt, and of course he is still in this chase, so that is a legitimate concern that we have, is Earnhardt taking the win here. Looking under 3 wide, always good to get those 2-for-1s, and even under Mark Martin here. Looks like we will be right behind Tony Stewart Now, Tony won the first 2 plate races of the year, and I won Daytona, but Tony Stewart is going to be stout here based on his plate prowess. Looks like Mark Martin and Ward Burton are getting a run on the high line up there. Earnhardt will follow. We'll try to stick to the bottom, maybe 1 lane up. Looks like there's some decent grip up here, but I have to keep that left rear in front of Jeff Burton so he don't stick his nose in there. He is definitely trying to make a move. I'm doing more defending than driving here. I'd like to follow Brandon through and give him a shove up, but that will open the door for Jeff Burton. Look to the inside there. Brandon's got a good push by Mark Martin, and Tony goes to the middle lane. Let's see if Brandon can carry that momentum forward. We're on the bottom. We'll get under Tony here, and let's see if this straightaway will prove fruitful. Now, it looks like they've got a lot of grip coming off of 2 in the high lane. If we're on the bottom, that's going to sort of even out the lines, and you can see that run that is developing on the high side. We'll stick to the bottom as best we can. Brandon with a wiggle. We'll take advantage of that. We'll go down to the bottom here. Hopefully Brandon can get in line, but Jeff Burton will be forcing him out. We'll stick right on the apron here. I've got my eye in the mirror wondering if Brandon can get in line here. We'll follow Tony as best we can, but we've got Mark Martin up there on the high side. We can't drive right up just yet. We can sort of push Mark out just a touch here. I'll ride kind of in between Jeff Burton and Tony Stewart. Now I'll get this good run off of the turn, and we're single file. Jeff Burton looks to the inside. I'm going to have to block here. I would really like to be behind Tony and just run this line, but I don't want to give up the entire bottom lane. If Jeff Burton gets his nose in there, we're going backwards in a hurry, and with 12 laps to go, it doesn't seem good. Oh, wow. There was a spin, and caution is out on the track. That is going to be good for us. We're going to come around to take the yellow, and we'll be right behind Tony Stewart. Looks like problems for Darrell Waltrip. As soon as we cross the line, we're going clutch in here. All right, we've taken the yellow, 2 laps to the good on fuel, and we really need to start saving. The car got really out of shape there. I didn't want to roll out too early and be ran into by Jeff Burton, but we're definitely going to save as much gas as we can here. We'll make it back for pit stops, but I want to make sure we have enough in the tank, so I will be with you for pit stops. All right, almost to our box in yellow here. We'll pull straight in. Luckily, we don't have Jeff Gordon blocking us like last time. We almost overshot the pits. I'm taking 4 tires here to ensure that we don't have any excessive wear. We need 2 cans of fuel anyway. We need to pack this thing as tight as possible. I don't know if the AI is going to do 2 tires or not, but we are down and away. All right, out to pit road. We're going to be right on the grass. We're sort of in a drag race here with some of the cars. We will get beat by a few of the cars. It looks like they decided to take 2 tires, but we should be okay. We have enough fuel, and we have to sort of count on them to make an extra pit stop. We are right on the cusp. 10 laps to go now, 9 in the tank. We're going to really short shift, ride the clutch under these caution flag laps and try to get that lap back. So I will see you for green. Coming back to green, we have now made up our lap of fuel. We are now 1 to the good, ready to race. We're behind Johnny Benson's single file. Here we go. Green flag is out. We're going to short shift just a bit to try to preserve that little bit of fuel. We're at 8 projected laps with 7 laps to go. 1 extra lap in the tank for full throttle. Hopefully they've calculated that correctly. Making good moves here on the bottom. This is the time for us to move. We've got Brandon right there in our mirror ready to give us a shove if need be. And single file is going to help us out. We'll be able to make good passes here, as you see under the 17 of Matt Kenseth, get that pull from the 22 of Ward Burton in that Caterpillar Pontiac. And there's old Jeff Gordon trying to make up for his blunder last week at Charlotte. He finished dead last, pitting early, 5 laps down. Jeff Gordon needs a win here, and he's going to try to use me to get up front. I tell you, I'll help Jeff Gordon a bit, but when it comes to winning, I'd rather see one very strong car out of the chase for sure. If that means Jeff Gordon, then that means Jeff Gordon. We'll go right under the bottom, 3 wide, try to keep our fender under him. We'll get that pull from the 6 of Mark Martin. And once again, we are right behind Mark Martin. We're picking up where we left off last week. Brandon's still there on the bottom. He's sticking with me. And we're going to come down that long back straightaway. Jeff Gordon has a little bit of a pull, but he's not making up a headway. Bobby Labonte had a really good run down that back straightaway. Jeff Gordon, not so much. Bobby Labonte looks to the inside. He is out of the chase, but he is definitely going for wins here. Tony Stewart dropping back a bit. I was worried about him and his plate dominance. We are at full song coming around the tri-oval. I'm sort of split in the middle here. I want to be low with Bobby Labonte, but I don't want to give up any space of Mark Martin. And I think this second groove is going to run, especially if Jeff Burton runs this second groove. I think we'll be able to get something. We're in the middle, 3 wide, Brandon there at the bottom. We still have a gap. Luckily, Brandon was there and not some AI driver. Mark Martin fighting hard on the outside, and he's got the pull from Bobby Labonte. We are just sort of in no man's land leading this inside groove, and boy, do they get a run on that high line. We'll fight back as best we can, but we've got a car on the outside, looks like Tony Stewart. Mark Martin dropping low, though. That's going to help us, especially if he can get under that 18. We will push Mark Martin forward as best we can. Good run down the tri-oval here. We are going to have a lot of steam getting into turn 1. We are at full song right under the 6. Hopefully this momentum can carry us. Laps are ticking down, 4 laps to go now, and we are right in striking position. Kenny Irwin Jr. No, that was Rick Mass down there on the apron. So it looks like somebody had to come down for a little bit of fuel, but we've made our bed. This is our dishwashing liquid, and we're going to soak in it. 4 laps in the tank with 4 laps to go. Coming around, though, to 3 laps to go, so it looks like we've got 3/4 of a lap to the good. And if we can run in the draft here behind Bobby Labonte, we'll save just a little bit of fuel, but we need to be within striking distance. We're in front of most of the chase drivers. We'll definitely make up some points here if we hold what we got. And boy, we are using everything we've got here to catch up. Yeah, cars are coming off of pit road. These are the ones that didn't have the fuel. And Bobby Labonte gets shoved up to the outside. We're following Jeff Burton through. If Jeff would have stayed down to the bottom, that would have helped us out tremendously, but no such luck. We're still down here on our own on the bottom. We'll get right behind Bobby Labonte here. We have an opening. We'll follow him through as best we can. We'll peek to the outside a bit, try to go around the outside. We're going to get a good run here behind Tony Stewart. Pitting! That could have been big. That could have been really big. It looks like the leaders decided that they wanted to pit, and it is just us. It's just us out here with 2 laps to go. Wow, this is big. I think we've got enough in the tank. I'm going to keep my foot in it for sure, but we saw under caution guys like Dale Jr. come down to top off while still under yellow, and while that put them back in the pack for sure, they may come out on top. Oh, this is going to get sketchy. Under the 93, and then we'll shoot to the outside of the 94 of Bill Elliott. We have definitely got the momentum on the outside. We'll get that pull as best we can here off the 25. No, let's just go around. He is not up to speed. I'd like to run the inside of the racetrack if I can, make this track as short as possible. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for us. We've led a lap, that's good. It says we've got 2 in the tank, and I'm going to trust them. I don't see that fuel light coming on. We still have full fuel pressure. We are as light as we possibly can be, and thankfully this backstretch is big enough that these cars coming off of pit road will not get into us like old Tony Stewart did. We're just going to continue this train on around. There's Sterling Marlin. He is in the chase, and that is going to be big if he came down. Around the outside and now to the bottom. Brandon is right there in the mirror. We're going to come down to the tri-oval, just about a mile left to go, and we are hauling the mail down. Brandon takes a look to the outside. I don't know if he's got the momentum to do it up there. We're going to come around, plenty of fuel, under power. We've got it. Whoo, we took the checkered flag at Talladega, securing our next spot in the chase. We will be in the round of 8 for Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix with that win. We don't have to worry about points going into Kansas, and that is a relief off my back for sure. What a race, what a drive. There's the retirees, Jeff Bodine, Darrell Waltrip. But there we go, and Dale Jr. finishes 3rd. Jeff Burton, Jarrett Ward, Tony Stewart, Earnhardt, and Gordon with a top 10. There's the fuel light coming on. We've got enough to make it back to pit road, and that is about it. So Jeff Gordon has an uphill battle to climb out of for sure. We don't even have enough fuel to do celebration donuts. Let's just get back to pit road here. But that was incredible. I love Talladega. I love plate racing. July, Daytona. We took that win, passing Rusty Wallace and Mike Skinner. And today, Brandon and I with a 1-2 finish when it comes to Talladega. I cannot be more happy. But let's take a look at the standings and the chase grid after Talladega. Brandon and I are in that next group. Ward Burton looks like he's good. Jarrett and other Burton is there with 10 points ahead. Earnhardt 8 spots ahead of the cutoff. It's going to get dicey. Mark Martin is in the transfer spot. Stewart only 3 points to the good. Rusty only 1 point behind Martin. If Rusty finishes 2 spots ahead of Mark Martin next race, he advances. Terry Labonte, a little bit of a long shot with Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Gordon is essentially in a must-win situation. But that is going to do it for me in this episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week for Kansas. Take care.